All right, everybody. Really, really excited. Chris, how long's it been?
Been 9 months since we've done one of these.
I closed 12 deals last year, and we're going to go over why it's been 9 months. So I closed 7 deals in 2020, 8 deals in 2021, and 12 deals in 2022. And from the previous, I've been investing since I'm 23 years old. I bought a 4-family. I'm on 42 deals, and this is probably the only deal we're doing this year for Sharpline Equity. And we're going to go over market cycle. We're going to go over reasons why and ethics and everything. So before
we're doing market cycle, I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, what I noticed was there's a lot of new names on this call. So I don't like doing intros. Most of the people know us. So I have a good bio on my website, but we will do quick intros today because there are new people, and it's very important because you invest more in people than the deal, and it's good to get to know us. And we're more about family than pitching and selling and stuff like that. So we will do intros. We'll keep them tight so we don't bore you guys because the deal is exciting and our wins are exciting. So we're going to start out with some wins. Intros, go right into the deal. We're going to keep it nice and tight, get some info, answer questions. So let's go, Chris. Let's start out, hand it over to you. And let's start with some wins. What's Sharpline property management team, Sharpline equity team? What are we working on, Chris?
Well, Nick, share the slides. Go ahead. Let's get the slides up so we can show the pic of our team. Just give him a second here. We got some of our team on this call, our self-management team that is now 2 years old. But really, we've hit our stride in the last year. I'll let the presentation come up. Here we go. Nick, you can do the next one.
All right, can everyone see that?
Yes. All right, so the big win is 2 years ago, we got tired of doing third-party management. We still do have some third-party management, but that will end and be a part of the topic of our conversation. But 2 years ago, we embarked on becoming what's called, if you've never heard this term before, vertically integrated. We have our own Sharpline Communities property management company that only services our investment portfolio. We do not third party out to anybody else because we're focused on being the best for our investors and our deals. This is a great picture here of a lot of new folks that have come onto our team and just have really become excellent leaders. We have people that have been here for a year. We got Isaac, who's part of MIH Group with Marco. That's Ashton over there, Donnie, Danielle, Nick's in there. Just an amazing team. And I want to stress how important self-management is, vertically integration is, because we've been doing this for 10 years, and we'll get into who we are for those that don't know us, but you just don't have as much control as you do when you self-manage. Self-management is not for the faint of heart. It is extremely difficult to do. We decided to do it after we had about 600 units, and we took over one property first to get better and better at it. And now we have over 700. But the win is the year of operations because, like Marco said, it's been 9 months since we've done a Zoom call to raise for a deal. We did close one in January, but that Zoom call was done in December. And really, we said no to a couple deals. It just didn't seem right. The market was in flux, a lot of uncertainty. So we stepped back from so we heads down, focus on the year of operations, and that has proven to be something amazing for our team. Go ahead, Mark.
So let me add a couple things to that, because as I hear you talk, it's just so hard to cover everything. One thing that we did do is Isaac. I'm his mentor in MIH Mastermind, and he was a physical therapist and has a great job. He left his job to come work with us on our team, and he's doing so good that he's graduating to really great positions. So bringing on Isaac was very important because him and Ashton are working really great together. And number two was in January, we had 146 unit in contract, 100% occupied, B+, beautiful property in KC where we want to be, where they're launching the airport in March. Our ethics are so high that I looked at Chris and Chris looked at me and I said, dude, November of 2022, we called the year of operations. We're calling delinquencies, vacancies. We're calling a tough time in 2023. We're predicting everything in our mastermind. I said to Chris, I have 42 deals. You have a lot of deals. This is a deal we should do. But you know what? we're not doing it. We're going to not do it. And we're going to worry about the operations and work on our management company and get strong. And right now, what do? I said up to June, we want to see what's going on. We built the management company even stronger. It's 1% better every day. And now we had this deal. And why are we doing this deal? He didn't get into it yet. The only reason we're doing this deal is we had this in contract from a year and a half, 2 years ago from a builder, and it makes sense. That's why we're doing it. And that's the reason we turned away the one in January, because it wasn't necessary. We understand market cycles. And when people are still being a little aggressive, it's not the time to be aggressive. So we had this in contract a year and a half, 2 ago. Chris is going to go over that, the builder, the seller that we know well, and the reasons and everything about the positives of the purchase price with the build cost 30% less and all that. That's later. But go ahead, Chris.
It's the right deal for the right time, and we're going to get into that. I just want everybody to understand the discipline Sharpline has to not do deals and to focus to become better on what is one of the most important things about investing in real estate operations. And it doesn't get enough praise out there. It's not just about the deal. You can take a good deal and turn it to crap if you operate it poorly. So we want full control, and it allows max flexibility to change with the changing times. And you just do not have that with third-party management. So let's move to the next slide. We said we're going to keep this quick, and Marco and I have a habit of talking blue streaks because we love this stuff. All right. So this, actually, I'm going to close my window, guys. Sorry. We closed this in January. This is in Lawrence, Kansas. And it's in near Kansas University. We also have 115 unit. We closed this in January, and we needed time to get the first 6 months, 7 months ready. And then we knew we were going to have in the summer a turnover period for student housing. So we waited to do distributions, got it filled to 100% pre-leased, and we begin distributions this month. Also, this is a testament to our team. Marco, I know you want to talk about this next topic because it's really important. This is where self-management wins. Near this property is our 115 unit, and 47 people gave notice to vacate. And that's something that you need to expect in student housing. And it also gives you a chance to raise rents really high on that many units. But that's an oh poop moment. You have to be ready for it. And when you self-manage, you can bob and weave, do specials if you need to. And Marco, talk about it with what you and Nick do.
I will. And I'm going to go slow, and I'm going to repeat myself, because it's almost like I sit down and I talk to Nick and you, and I can't believe we do these things differently. So when there's 47 move-outs, August 1st, we start to pre-lease a little bit ahead of time. I'm going to say it twice. There's no third-party management company that can handle 47 move-outs. I'm going to prove it. A mile down the road, 6 minutes, there is a property that I know friends that own, have a third-party management. They have 6 to 8 vacants. It's been stagnant at 6 to 8 vacants for 3 months. Okay. He can't fill 6 to 8 vacants. We moved out 45 people August 1st, 47. We renovated probably half of them to get premiums, and we left some classics. We moved in 35 to 45 days. 41, and we have 4 left right now, which yet today we probably had 7 tours. Me and Nick are the head of leasing for Sharpline Equity Management, Property Management Company. And I'm probably going to get a notice tomorrow that we're full. So that can be achieved once again with self-management. Third-party property managements cannot do that. Everybody in my group, we're talking, and with the recession, whatever's going on is having problem with third-party property managements, and they're trying to look for new companies, and they're good as for a year and whatever. And there are good companies, but it never compares to self-management. And what I did was I brought my 25 years of running a restaurant and hiring and running a successful restaurant to the skills to property management, because they're very similar. So Nick, say hello real quick, and just please, say a little bit what you do with me, the 115. And talk about the housing in that market, like how we pick markets. Talk about there's a housing shortage.
Yeah, thanks, Marco. Hi, everyone. Good to see a lot of the familiar faces on here. It's been a while for some of us, but yeah, so Lawrence in general, we've been hearing since the beginning of the spring that there's a housing shortage from potential prospects and other students that live there. but we weren't sure the extent of it. And then when the notice to vacate started rolling in, it obviously required a bunch of, attention to detail, making sure you're lining up the turns and the move outs and the move ins and getting everything organized and up to par. So just a lot of our day to day, the last, call it 2 months, has been, Marco and I on the phone constantly talking about current availability. I talk to the on-site team day in and day out over Slack and phone calls to see, how things are going, what's the feedback. We were doing a lot of tours at the end of June and then not getting a lot of applications. So we were curious as to why. And it really was because people were shopping around, and then supply started to dwindle and they started to either come back or move on to somewhere else for either, cheaper rent or things that were not up to the same standard that we have. So it's just been a pretty hectic 2 months, but like Marco said, we're almost done. It was pretty, and you'd never be able to do this with a third party. There's no way the level of communication daily, nonstop, all hours of the day would be able to get done.
So I sold my restaurant in 2020 and I fully retired at age 43. I'm working basically 7 days a week because I love this on leasing with Nick. It's just, I love multifamily, and I didn't have to, but I had an opportunity. Chris invited me with my skills of running companies, because my restaurant was the only company I run. I have a total of 4 companies right now, and I'm starting my 5th. So Chris invited me and I had the opportunity, which I love the challenge of, and I love property management. So in saying that, the leaders of the company are helping to fill units, and we are creating the tours for the property managers because we have great property managers, and we're leaders of the company and we work alongside them. And I know Sunil Gupta, if he's on this call, he's really like happy and proud of me. So he's always checking in. He's like, Marco, how's it going? So I think he might jump on late if he's not on. But Michael Kushner's on, so I'll have Michael Kushner relay a message. But so Chris, besides the 62-115, what are we getting into before intros, or is that it?
Let's go to intros. Everybody wants to hear about the deal. Like, everybody's probably looking at their phones. But let's just go tell everybody who we are. If you don't know who we are, we've been doing this for a while. I was a tech guy for a long time, so I have a tech background and been doing this for about 10 years. I think it's 6 now, full time. Krista and I, who have been partners together the whole time. We've done over 1,600 unit transactions. We sold 500 units total. We have about 1,200 units in our portfolio now. Like we have with Marco, we've raised over 70 million, done 140 million in projects. And the main thing is we've had 9 full cycles. So we know how to bring a deal to raise the value, refinance, and sell, and also operate deals. And that was really what we saw coming in this part of the market cycle, where you can't really do apartment flipping as successfully anymore. And you need to understand how to operate deals. So we saw that coming. So 2 years ago, we made the plunge to begin our journey into self-management, and we will never turn back. As you see at the bottom, we self-manage 900. And by the end of this year, we are going to take over the entire portfolio in all the areas. We have already begun hiring in those regions. So we will be fully self-managed in the portfolio by the end of the year. And all the investors in those projects will reap the benefits. And Krista, give your intro, give a little backstory of who you are and how you got into this crazy world of real estate investing and apartment buildings.
All right, thank you, Chris, for that lead in. Very quickly, Krista Testani. I am a lawyer by trade. 7 years of schooling to become a lawyer, and probably practicing within the first year, I realized I really don't like being a lawyer. No offense to all the lawyers on the call, including our partner and friend Joseph, who's an amazing lawyer. It was just not my thing, and I kind of realized it early on, and I wanted to be like so many people I know in this world who are lucky enough to love what they do. I wanted to find something that I loved what I was doing. It was really my husband that introduced me into real estate. He's a retired fireman, and he said, hey, I want to get into real estate, and I think we can start flipping houses. So we are on Long Island, and that's what we started doing, buying residentials, flipping them, rehabbing them, and flipping them. for sale. Realized about 2 years in that I wanted to be able to scale the business, and I didn't think I can do it with that model. So Chris and I actually met through an education platform, because multifamily is not like single family. Lots of nuances, lots of different levels of complexity. And we were both smart enough to realize we weren't smart enough yet to just do multifamily. So we both joined a 1-year educational platform, and that is where we met. And that is when, we forged that relationship and formed Sharpline Equity. And like he just summarized, we have been doing multifamily ever since and loving it. So that is the Reader's Digest of who I am.
You can move on to the next slide.
All right. So real quick, if he's out there, this wasn't planned, but I mean, I just thought about it. We added a new member to the team, and it's very important to our self-management team because it's gotten so strong. The people on our team, it's a family, and that's what I created at my restaurant. Josh Stahl, you out there?
I am here.
I want you to say hello, man. You are so important to our team. You're a partner with me on 3 or 4 deals already. You're my mastermind, and my mastermind has produced you to our team of Sharpline, and you're like head of hiring, and you have your own deals. You estimate, you do so many things, but just introduce yourself and tell us what the talent in maintenance guy, what you're doing for Sharpline.
Thanks everyone. Josh Stahl. Yeah, I guess the things that I'm doing for Sharpline are whatever's asked of me and done to the best of my ability. So if it's recruiting, I'm heavy on recruiting. If it's helping, across the Lawrence portfolio, there's a lot of CapEx projects going on. The places look beautiful. And, I'm interfacing with contractors, making sure the work is good, negotiating super hard for all the investors in the deals. Just providing all the due diligence needed to make sure that Chris, Krista, Marco, all the people on the team are happy with how things are going.
Josh, you quit your W-2, but what's your background? You do some Bitcoin mining on the side, and what was your background in the field?
Yeah, so I do some Bitcoin mining. My W-2, I basically started at a company with some family members. We went from 8 to 200 people over 20 years. So entrepreneurs, scaling, learning how to, do the highest value things for the most efficiency for the organization. And then, had a loss in the family, and everyone kind of looked around and was like, hey, we need some more security. And real estate was kind of what we all decided on. So single family homes, multifamily, in about 2 months, I'll be up to about 450 units.
Awesome.
Over the last few years. So yeah,
great job, and excited to have you. And the team's so strong, and now we really have leverage in hiring and everything, because we really
I want to add something that Josh does, because it's really important. This is the power of being vertically integrated. We are getting better and better and faster at starting to using outside vendors for turns, but also bringing many more turns in-house and getting that crisp and fast, and having our own system of which, like, ordering SKU numbers for every single different type of apartment complex that we have in unit type. And we will begin to press and go forward to that, so that eventually all turns are in-house. But we also feel that you need to run in parallel and use an outside contractor sometime to parallel speed. You almost don't want to hire too many people on your team to be bloated just to have a spike in Lawrence and then not needed so that's become a strategy of where do we run in parallel with other great vendor partners that Josh has been really good at introducing us to and working with, keeping it efficient and cost effective.
So yeah, last intro. I'm going to try and do mine quick, but the reason we're doing these intros, guys, is a lot of quotes I teach in the mastermind is you don't just invest in the deal, but you invest in the people in the deal that have the deal. Because a good tear sheet, as Chris said, looks great, but if the people who are running the deal don't run it great, it'll be zero. So that's why to get to know us is more important than us throwing numbers at you, but we will go over the exciting part. So Marco Barbaro, father of 3 beautiful girls. I ran an Italian family restaurant with my father and my brother. I graduated Fairfield IT. I want to work with my dad. My dad was awesome. So along the way, I won 12 awards as a chef. I sold a restaurant in 2020, January, right before COVID, which was kind of planned. I didn't, not planning COVID, but I retired then, and I did the restaurant from age 21 to 43, which that's what I want to do. And along the way, my immigrant father, who didn't go to college when I was 23, taught me how to buy my first 4-family. So I've been investing in multifamily since I'm 23 years old. I have over 40 years of 20 something years of experience. I currently now have 42 deals, 28 generational wealth that are just my deals going to my daughters. I'm never selling, and 14 syndications with Sharpline equity, a total of 42 deals. This will be deal number 43. I've currently refinanced 100%, 30 of the deals out, and I have 7 lined up for October of 2024 or January 2025. Whenever the rates decide to cooperate, which they will cooperate one day, it needs to be slow for a certain amount of time so we can all make money once again, and I'm not in a rush. I am also the leader of MIH Mastermind, a mastermind that I started that we currently have 250 family members that I help close deals, and there's a bunch of them on here tonight. I educate them, we network together. I'm very proud of that. And lastly, the emphasis is, what I'm very grateful for is I love running businesses, and Krista and Chris have invited me into Sharpline Property Management Company in 2021 or 20, give or take. And along with Nick, the 4 of us, and I'm very excited. I was very excited about it and proud about it because I love a challenge. And running a restaurant or running a property management, being an entrepreneur is a challenge, and I need that in my life because progress is happiness. And that gives me some fulfillment of taking care of my properties and even my investors, and not having a third party take care of my investors. Me and Nick physically and Chris can take care of our investors, and I'm working on it. So that's it. And we can jump right into this call and give you guys some
Chris.
really great info.
Chris, one quick shout out before you start. I just because I saw him enter the room, I just want to shout out to Ryan Califf. He is a new team member to Sharpline as well. He is a CFO for us. Brilliant young guy on the phone. He's super shy, so I don't even think he'll wave or anything, but he's added to our team because when you're managing, owning and operating and managing 15 deals at this point, the financial management piece gets really complex. And he's just a brilliant mind that is helping us sort out a lot of stuff and establish a lot of systems and protocols in the financial management part of our operations. So I just want to say thank you, Ryan, for joining us. Okay.
One thing I forgot to mention, I always forget stuff. I'm going to put my website and my cell phone number up. For the new people on here, I network. I have 5,000 contacts in my phone. Your network is your net worth. If you haven't met me, send me a text. I'll send you my calendar link. I would love to jump on Zoom and get to know you. I can add value for an hour free about multifamily. You can ask me any questions. For the people that do know me and even don't know me, we're not going to answer every question tonight. Text me. I usually average about 60 to 70 texts on these calls. Send me a text. I'll jump on and I will spend time with everybody answering questions. Okay, so let me put it up right now. There's my info. My website has my family and bio, and that's my cell number, and you can text me. All right. So, all right, Chris.
All right, let's get into the deal. All right, so we said we were going to do intros quick, which you knew was a pile of poo because we were going to talk the whole time and talk a blue streak. What did we take this time? Half an hour to get through intros?
I don't know.
Michael Kushner's like, dude, I know you guys are ready. But for those that don't know, know us, okay? All right, so we titled this one 72 units A-class institutional grade project complete. Why? Okay, this is Logan Heights 2 that you're looking at, 2023 build. We had a vision when we purchased Logan Heights 1, which is basically identical to this, built in 2020. That is the set of 3 going upwards to the left. So there's a set of 6 now. And we went under contract for Logan Heights 2 a year and a half ago. So we got into Logan Heights 1 and needed to see if it was working, and it was. So we went under contract for Logan Heights 2. And the reason that we call it institutional grade project complete is because you will not have the big funds in the future for the maximum exit price, maximum benefit to our investors, if it's just a 72 unit. You'll have a certain segment of buyers that buy it and would pay us out nicely. But when you showcase 144 units in Springfield, that you have a 2020 built and a 2023 built all together in wondrous glory of institutional grade A class, they will pay a premium. So both of these projects are going to benefit each other because at the end, they will be sold whenever that time is right. They would be sold together and we will command maximum purchase by institutional grade funds because they want over 100 units. They do actually want over about 120, 130 because you get a lot of advantages when you have 144 units together. So you have your staffing's easier, just everything it can get cheaper. You use one apartments.com listing instead of two. You can. This is how we're going to do it. You can save expenses there. So we're going to self-manage it as well. We don't self-manage it right now. This third-party property management company it's the builders. They've done a fine job. They've done good. We're better. Now we're better. And that's just the way.
What you're going to say is we've been waiting for this day because we self-manage KCK, KCMO, and all our properties. And we are very strategic and you don't need to rush. It's working out very well. They're doing good. The builder's good. But like Chris said, I'm going to say it right now, we're better. So this day came and we had in contract a year and a half ago, and we knew to slowly do it the right way, not to burn our bridges with the person selling us the deal, that the time is going to come where we do KCK, KCMO, our whole portfolio, that when this day came today, we now can go in, we have the hire, we have the systems, we have the year of operations, and it's time to combine them. Lower expenses, that's what we do, because when we self-manage, it's a win everywhere. We lower expenses, on the turns, we're going to lower the turns also, and me and Nick are very more efficient at getting leads. We get tons more leads, so that's what's exciting, and the time is right. So
we also do own another 76 unit that's a B/A class about 12 minutes away. So we have like a regional efficiency as well. It's not just these, it's 220 units that we will have, which gives us a lot of benefits for both of these properties. Given they're all really A class, we need less staffing at certain levels for certain disciplines. But let's go. This is a beautiful property. Let's get into it. Okay, so the projected returns. Okay, first, I know I heard Marco said there's a lot of new people here. This is a 506B offering. What does that mean? It means you do have to have a pre-existing relationship in order to invest in this project with us. You need to know one of the principals here that we just mentioned, or one of our trusted partners on this deal. You have to have a pre-existing relationship with one of them in order to invest here. If this is the first time you're hearing about Sharpline, that's great. Get to know us. I hope you like what you hear. Get in touch with Marco so that you can develop that relationship for a future project. But I just have to say that this is a 506B.
And once again, our trusted partners, where Lindsay and Michael are joining us on the deal, Andy, Eric, and Zaid, and Psychit and others. There's a couple others. And so that's the thing. But like I said, if you don't know me, please reach out, send me a text. I'd love to jump on a 30-minute Zoom just to get to know you, and network and add some value.
We do, when we start distributing, we do distribute monthly. Sometimes in a deal, we've had a deal that we distributed for a full year and then we had to turn them off, and then we will be turning them back on. But we do monthly distributions. That's just the nature of multifamily. In many cases, there's an ebb and flow sometimes. So that's just, be aware of that, be understanding of the asset class. It will treat us all correctly if we treat it correctly and don't make unrealistic demands of it. It treats us well. 7% cash on cash. This is what we expect to get on the distributions during the hold. this property is a preferred return of 7. What does that mean? So a preferred return, basically in its simplistic form, means at the end when we sell, the Sharpline principals do not share in the profit if the investor didn't make at least 7% annualized. That's basically its most simplest case. So we're not sharing in any of the upside at all unless the investors make 7, okay, each year. So 5 years, 35%. This is a 16% IRR. There's going to be a refi. What that means in its simplest terms too is approximately 16% annualized. We believe it would be about a 6-year hold. There is upside on this. That's what we mean when we say upside, like there's appreciation. We believe it because of the purchase price. We're going to tell you that's going to make your eyes pop out if you know the business. Like, yes, it actually happened. That's why we're buying this. On the chair sheet, I just want to make a note here. We did have 14. It got higher because we're buying this at the ridiculous price that we're buying it at for a new build because our contract got activated when they were 75% occupied. And now it is more occupied than that. But lending is a challenge right now. So at first, when we sent out the tear sheet, there's a debt option that most likely we're going to go with, but I have more debt options now. And the original debt option looks like they're going to be able to do better than they were before. So that's why we feel comfortable saying 16% IRR here instead of what was out there as 14. The equity multiple in its simplistic
Chris,
form
the
is
one thing, Chris, 1 second. The one thing is, I own 2,000 units in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's an unbelievable market. And I wanted another market like Knoxville, Tennessee. I started investing in 2012. I bought a 26 unit at 400,000. It is currently worth, it was 2013. It's currently worth 2.5 million. And I only invested 50,000 in me and my brother and Jake. So I was always looking for another market like Knoxville, and KCK, KCMO is the market for me. We started investing, and I told Chris in March of 2023, they launched a $1.6 billion airport, 2 million, something like that.
Yeah, in Kansas City, they went live with a $1.5 billion airport.
And we knew this 2 years prior, and this is why we love KC. The airport is unbelievable. It's bringing CFOs in, CEOs in. They just had the NFL draft. They're getting the World Cup. There's a lot of buzz in KC. I don't know why, but I do know why. I love it when I go down to downtown. People, it's like #1 rated for people to go there and work there and like hang out and stuff. And so that's where a market you want to be in. You want to be in a market that's growing, things like that. When they're building an airport like that, they're doing it on purpose because they want to bring the NFL had a contract with them because they want to bring traffic there. And when I saw that, I was excited now to own 14 deals in Knoxville and 14 deals in KC, which is 2 really unbelievable markets. Because multifamily is great, but it's only great as the market you're in.
What we were able to do is with its 600 units in KC, is we began to see other markets that were being affected by KC. Also, there's some people moving out of KC down to Springfield also, and Springfield is an actual high growth market that I'll get into at the end. But we have enough prowess in Kansas City that like we have teams that can go back and forth. They're about 2 hours apart, and they're both really, really strong markets. Springfield, actually, from a numeric perspective, is actually more of a high growth. It just has less people and less known than, say, Kansas City. But Springfield has been really good to us. Let's go to the that is really the more simple things that investors have asked me, and they actually base their investment on that. What it means is if that was a 2, so there's 2 classes of investments in this one. If you do invest over $200,000, there is called a C class of equity tranche, and that one has higher returns than this, and that one is close to a 2. What that means is you'll double your money in the 6 years. So that's at its simplest thing. An equity multiple is like you'll be close to doubling your money in 6 years. This one is a no distribution for year 1 because we are buying it at about 83% occupied right now. and they are actually leasing up. I'll get into it on the next slide, but like they're actually leasing it up too fast with low rents. So that's hurting us a little bit, but at the price that we're buying it, it's amazing. And I'll get into that. But that is why there's no distributions for year one, because we are getting it at such an amazing price. And you do have to buy it at higher interest rates than in the past. So I'll get into that. There is we are moving to get this to a refi as close to right after the year one as possible and move into something like agency debt, which is like the best debt on the planet comparatively to others. Those rates are currently in the mid to high fives, and they have 30-year amortization, and you get some interest only periods too, so your cash flow is higher. So you can't get that debt when you are 83 or 75% occupied, so that you have limited options, but Sharpline has a robust network of debt options that would allow us to take this down, or else you don't get access to product at this quality. Go ahead, Nick. Let's move to the next one. All right. This 2023 built, and it's an A class. It's 50% one beds and 50% two beds. The two beds are actually 1,100 square feet, 2-bed, 2-bath. They're big. And we have Logan Heights 1, and we have been pushing our property manager there to rent even higher, and we get it. And then we know they're not pushing hard enough to get it further. And we've seen what we can do at other properties. So we're going to knock the door. They're going to knock socks off this thing. Like when we show up and manage it ourselves, we handle leads better than everybody else. We push the limits on rent increases. So we know when we can push it, we know when we can throttle back. If suddenly the economy pulls back a bit and you tried to go for it too much and now you're getting resistance, we are flexible enough to then lower. That's the beauty of self-management. This, I mean, 920 for an A class, like, give me a break. Like, come on, like, let's go. We can do better than that when we self-manage, and we're going to do better than that. Look at this, 127 a unit for a 2023 build. That is just not possible. We have a builder on our team, and basically with land, it's pretty hard to build anything in the United States anywhere for less than 175 a unit these days. It just really
for my brother, and we need to be modest about it. My brother was saying 180 to 200 a door, but we'll say 175 a unit. So that's a lot of big wins tonight. I'm focusing on the self-management piece and the 30% below build cost at 127K a door, which Sunil was very happy about. And there's many others you're going over.
How do we get it? We got it to contract because we purchased Logan Heights 1 2 years ago, like basically during COVID. So that was a COVID purchase, if you will. We scored. And then we were aggressive in realizing that it was a great property, great area. And we went under contract for this price, but we had the stipulation to be able to do this at 75% occupied. So we had to come through there. The builder's able to do it at this low cost. I don't think the builder's making very much money on this one. He had some materials, obviously, from Logan Heights 1 that allowed him to get here. The seller did attempt to renegotiate. We said no.
I'm gonna say that one more time, because you go quick sometimes, and it's really important. Like when you hear it, the seller reached out, and everybody knows building costs are up. COVID, everything's up during COVID. Gas is up, eggs were up. Insurances on your home was up. Insurances on multifamily is up. Everything's up. So the builder came back, and when we said, Chris, we have a great relationship with him. Chris is like, we can't do it. We're just not going to do the deal.
Well, we had interest rates climb. He had build costs climb. We both had to get access to this property at this basis, and then we'll get the rents where we need them to be. This property makes money and appreciates, and is a great asset. Also, the seller knows that we purchased the first one. We will purchase the second one, and we are actually in contract for something that we have to hit a certain milestone for an A class, but that won't happen until the beginning of 2024. But this seller wants us as buyers. We're a good buyer. So that's how you get deals like this. You just have to work. You have to stay strong. You have to stay stern. But this is a great asset at 127 per door. New build, unbelievable. Go ahead, Nick. All right, so when you talk about A class, one of the things that people ask all the time is, yeah, but like, so where's the upside? Where's the appreciation? Well, one, it's 127 a unit right now, and basically almost all A classes are in this zone of 170 a door to build. So if you can get access to below replacement cost at this level, it's usually a win. They leased up too fast. They wanted, their loan was actually coming due and they had some delays. So they had to lease up faster than we were actually happy about. And it's, you can't push them to say, no, lease up higher, because then they say, oh, okay, well, this is going to be slower for us. And you lose your negotiating power in other areas. So we had to let them do it. And we are going to take over and lease up higher when we take over. We already have higher rents on Logan Heights 1 in certain areas, and we're going to keep on pushing those. We've had a massive year-over-year rent growth over at Logan Heights 1 on its own, even without us self-managing. We've had 9% year-over-year rent growth in the last 2 years over at
That's
Logan Heights 1.
9%.
We're going to go do the same over at Logan Heights 2. I kind of touched upon this, so I don't have to beat a dead horse here, but you do get operational efficiencies by having these two together, and by having 76 units, that's about 10 minutes away. Also a B or an A class gives us a lot of power in the area. So we can, we don't need as many folks. They can work across the properties. So that helps us. As you can see, we believe that we can lower the existing expenses by $3,000 to $5,000 a month already, even over at Logan Heights 1. We know we can. We've done the analysis. We know we can. Springfield itself actually has a year-over-year rent growth of 6.7. It's a growing market. I'll get into the next slide, but Nick, don't go to the next slide just yet. It's a growing market of about 400,000 in the metropolitan statistical area, the MSA. Of about 1.5%, and anything over 1% is usually a great upward trajectory for a market that's growing, and that's why we're seeing the steady rent growth. When we first bought Logan Heights 1, the rents were really low, and they just kept on climbing, and we're gonna push the limits even further. Also, the builder cheapoed out a little bit too. This is an A class, but we have the option to switch out the black and go to stainless. We tried that once or twice. It did actually work. And then this is the part we don't like about third-party management. Like they kind of can beat you up sometimes and say, no, we don't think that it's actually working. Obviously we're the asset manager. We can tell them to go do it, but they come back and give us a bit of a thesis. No, like it's not worth doing it. We know that it works. We know that if we put in better countertops, like, and stainless steel, and do the presentation better and sell it better, that we'll go get higher rents. And and we've seen that happen on a lot of our other properties when we self-manage. We have the empirical evidence. So with self-management, we have more control to really test the limits of the area. Also, upside, mentioned it before. I hope you understand what the upside is. When I really say this, it's really important to get it. By having these together, 144 units together, the buyer pool of the United States to buy these assets in 6 years is so much greater. They're going to want it. 2020 plus 23 built, unbelievable.
The space of 10 to 90 units has a certain buyer, and then the space from 100 to 400 units has a certain buyer. So we just enter that next level buyer with the 144 units.
And they care more about vintage. They will pay a premium because they understand that it can be held for longer and that the maintenance costs are less. Go ahead, Nick, you can go to the next one. So why Springfield? You know, I had my eye, one thing that I definitely, I feel I'm kind of arrogant about, but like, I'm good at it. I know markets. I know good markets. We've done well in our markets that we've gone in and then exited sometimes. We know when the market's done. And this is a growing market. It's been good to us for the last 2 years. Look at this. the 20% growth of the last 10 years, 1.5 in the last year. This in Rogersville, which is part of Greene County, which is about 10 minutes outside of Springfield. Rogersville itself is a small town, but it's part of Springfield MSA, and it's growing massively. It's expected to continue growing. I mean, they've got a variety of employment centers. They did open an Amazon distribution center that has 200 jobs. And when Nick and I were there last, we also saw a lot of changes. Like, we came through a back area down into call it northeast side of Springfield, and they're expanding roads heavily. A lot of traffic going there and just a lot of new building happening. And then Nick, even next to Logan Heights, they added, what did I'll let you just tell it.
Yeah, there's Logan Heights 1 was built 3 years ago. So when I was there 2 years ago visiting on site, it was just Logan Heights 1 and literally cornfields. And it was like, all right, where is this thing? Now we go back, there's Logan Heights 2, and there's a retail strip center that's going to have like a coffee shop, small, nice boutique stuff to kind of accent it and give a destination for people. So yeah, it's buzzing for sure.
And Rogersville has really good schools. In fact, one of we have a local banking relationship that has financed one of our other deals in Kansas City. He actually lives in Rogersville and sends his school to Rogersville's the school district. So he's one of the suitors of our debt. Like, we can talk about the debt a little bit, I'm sure, but the one that I'm leaning towards, but we have other suitors that have shown up recently to challenge, which is a good situation. We're only going to do fixed debt, everybody. We're not going to do floating rate. And the LTVs are pretty low these days. This one that we're leaning towards is a 60 LTV, 40% down. They're coming up a bit. We have an option for a 70. We're also like, Sharpline is very good about their debt. We've learned a lot over the years about which is good, which is bad, where to stay, which is good for the right project. In this particular one, as we mentioned, we had to find debt that was suitable for 75, 80, 83% occupied on a new build without a history. The history is Logan Heights 1. That's been helping us as a reference point and its success over at Logan Heights 1. But you have to get debt that doesn't have prepay penalties. You can do it, but then you shot yourself in the foot for options on a refinance to go to more fixed debt that's even lower than the fixed debt that we can get right now, such as agency. So you have to be really smart about your prepayment penalty options. And I think a lot of folks out there just get so rate sensitive and don't realize there's other variables and levers that are super important to debt, that you have to be knowing which levers you want to pull for the business plan. And
So, real quick, we're going to take questions later, but a friend of mine just texted me a question, which it's okay if you put in the open because we're taking questions later. What's the occupancy at Logan Heights 1? And it's about 92 to 97, more towards the 95, 97 consistent. So, and that's with the other guy self-managing. So when we take over,
that's with third party.
Yep.
And it's 95, it hovers around 95. We did have 97. One time it went down to 93. We weren't pleased. We know at our other projects that we can get Logan Heights to definitely in the 97 zone continuously.
I think it's just like our other ones that are 100%. We create wait lists. Our 64 unit in Main Street, we create 100% and we create a wait list. It's what I used to, same basic principles in my restaurant on sales. So
on our University Villa project, we had a dip in occupancy that caught us too. We had to react to it. When we took over the property, there were a lot of lease ends in one particular time. And then we had, unfortunately, a property manager that wasn't one of the best. And we've since parted ways with that property manager. We've had leaders come up and be awesome and do amazing over at University Villa. And now that one's like 100% pre-leased and looking forward. So
until October is that we're pre-leased 100% till October. We could build a wait list over there now. So that's the whole objective. A third party property is not going to build a wait list where me and Nick can pre-lease and have our property on pre-lease. And actually we have on our RTLS sheet, we have a wait list column where we get people in and they could go month to month. They can wait if they really want the place, and we just keep our old leads.
What we noticed a little bit because everybody's like talking about recession. And what we noticed was for about a 4-month period, we saw our residents or prospective residents definitely exhibit fear. They were putting their hands in their pocket a little more. They were worried for their jobs. So on renewals, we got a little bit pushback. When we try to push rents hard, we got a little pushback. But what is interesting is there's also high employment now too. So what happens is you have to have a dance here. You can't scare people away, but if you're highly occupied, there's a shortage of available options for this high quality. And when you don't have any vacancies, you decide what you want to rent it for, and then you grab it. So the renters will sniff it out if you're trying to go get some crazy number, but you got 6 vacancies. They'll sniff it out and know it. So if it's not the old days where you can go hide that. If you are fully 100% occupied, you start to command your rents.
Okay, so you want to hit the next screen and we can answer a couple
Yeah.
questions. There you go. Boom. Wait. We're off by, it's 8:57. We're off by like 5 minutes. We said 50 minutes. 7 minutes,
We
actually.
haven't even done any of the questions yet.
We do. I'm going to answer one real quick. The first one that came up, I saw it, and then Nick is going to filter, go through the questions and pick some really good ones if a lot come in, if not a lot come in. So the first question I want to answer, just start to talk about, from Ivy Buza, there's a 1-beds, so 500 1-beds. So in 2007, how we approach self-management over third-party property management and what's going on is 2007, my restaurant, I went through that recession. I started in 1995, had a great run, 1995, 2005, out of the other recession, 10 years. In 2007 in New York, when I was in New York, I'm in Ponte Vedra Beach now. I was a young guy. I was like in my 30s. I learned how to become a true business owner, where every single restaurant near me in New York was basically closing with other businesses. And what I learned was you need not to just wait for people to come to rent to you or buy your food. I decided I needed to go an hour, 2 hours away and find food. And I picked up LaGuardia Airport and Sloan Kettering, the biggest cancer center in New York City, as catering, and 1,500 construction workers at LaGuardia Airport, the Skanska Walsh account. So I learned how to become an entrepreneur. And in markets like that, you can't wait. So in saying that, in something like Springfield or KC, where we self-manage, and there's other properties that have self-management, what's our advantage is I'm not waiting for apartments.com to come, whatever. I'm not going to give away my secrets tonight, but we have certain things that we do to reach out to people, agencies and universities and hospitals, and we market better and stronger than other complexes near us, our competitors. We don't wait for the leads to come to us. We do have leads come to us, but we go out and we create the demand and we create the leads. And
we've actually, that's right, Margaret. We've actually figured out that there is an interaction between 2 pretty heavy hitters of advertising, that if you're only doing one, you don't see the amount of leads that if you're doing both. Like both leads independently give a lot of leads, but together they're feeding off each other. I think the algorithms out there see that there is a lot of, search engine optimization with more impact for this many more advertising. So we do, when a property needs it, we do turn on additional marketing mechanisms. And then there's a third also that Marco uses that a lot of people don't.
There's a fourth that I just started using that's free that people don't really know about.
Yep.
I can't give it away because I almost can't even tell my mastermind. It's like a super secret. My brother actually told me at lunch. So there's the 2 main ones that almost everybody's using. A third one that's very challenging and people don't want to use, but I'm using it because I don't want Isaac, my property manager, to use it and stress him. And then there's a fourth one that I'm using that is very strategic. And I just got a lead right now about 3 hours ago. I got 25 leads on my phone. By midnight, I'll have 50 leads. It's just like a 24-hour process with these systems.
And now there's another one too that we start, and you can actually turn this on for 3 months. It's more of the social aspect of ads and presence. And as Sharpline Communities grows and it gets more robust and mature, we have people on our team that can be the face of Sharpline and can start doing outward promotion with interviews with residents and talk about our communities and talk about what it's like to work at Sharpline, work with Sharpline as a team. And what that's going to do is just start really pushing out the social aspect of it and do it our way. Marco, as everybody knows, online is a crazy mad scientist genius of social media, and we're going to start putting that forward for our communities. You have to do it the right way, but we are going to begin that as well, and that would just be organic leads, unpaid.
So one other word, I see the word there, compete, is, and I teach from Tony Robbins. The word competition is false. You are your own competition. If you put the work in and you do what you're supposed to do and you innovate, the two words is innovation and evolution taught by Tony Robbins. If you're not innovating, you're dying. Meaning if you're just using rent.com and apartments.com, you are not innovating, you are dying. And that's how you lose the competition. If you are innovating and you're doing evolution, you will not have competition, you will be the leader. And that's how I successfully grew my restaurant from $500,000 a year in sales to 2019, 3.7 million in sales. And I only sat 75 people. I was the leader in catering of the tri-state area. For pharmaceutical reps, if there's doctors on here, I did Bronx Lebanon Hospital, Putnam Hospital. I did Cornell, Sloan. I was the leader of the hospitals in catering in a small family restaurant that sits 75 people in Mayapack, New York. And I delivered to New York City an hour and 20 minutes away, successfully. I would bring organic black and pomegranate salmon to the doctors and some good eggplant parm and chicken parm to the staff. So competition only exists if you let it exist. You need to innovate and go with evolution, and you need to lead and you need to find the leads, because it will always exist if you let it exist. All right, so let's go through. Guys, any other questions? Oh, Mary Washington. Mary Washington, hello. How are you? Good. Let's see.
Hello,
Chris.
how you doing?
Good. Are there any other major industries coming to this area because the satellite view has land smile? Any other, Chris, any answer to this question, that question?
What is it? You have to tell me it. I can't find it.
Any
Hi,
other like
everyone.
major
Are there any
employees?
other major industries coming
employers?
to this area besides we have Amazon there now, and what's?
Oh yeah, you have go back. Let's go back. Go back. I don't have any new ones that are coming. I don't have like that specific answer, but I mean, you've got cocktails, like you got yep, Walmart. Like actually, the Bass Pro Shops, their headquarter is actually like freaking like crazy huge. I suspect more will come. I mean, it's growing. It's continuously growing over the last 10 years. So it's a more affordable place to live currently. But what's interesting is when you talk to folks in Springfield, they're seeing that it's starting to get expensive. So it's the time to get in was yesterday.
So things like this, like markets like this, Knoxville, Tennessee, we got in 2013, me, my brother, and Jake, and we were buying 35,000 a door, guys. Our properties are now worth 140 to 160,000 a door right now, 2023, 10 years later. We're in a new build. We don't have to do any CapEx for 10 years. So you see the journey. We bought a Hammond, 150 something units at like, say 9 million or whatever. It's currently worth 24 million. I bought it in 2014. You want markets where you don't want to buy in Houston, whereas best and final, 7 people, best and final closes in a week, purchase price is 12 million and they buy for 13 million. We're not doing that. We let other people do that. And the Houston and Dallas deals that they bought in 2022 at best and final are not doing well. But our deals that we bought in KCK and KCMO in 2020, 21, 22, not best and final, we bought for the right price in a market that people, by the way, I predicted this. I said to Chris, 2021, 22, we're buying deals in KCK, KCMO. I said to Chris, and I predicted everything with this economy, everything with MIH, year of operations. I said the airport launches March 2023. We will not buy a deal that year. We're done. Because all the big boys are coming to this market and overpaying and pushing the prices up. So our property is gonna be more. Our UV 108, we paid, I think, 108 a door, Chris. Is that off or right?
No, that was 135 a unit.
135 a unit. A big competitor, I'm not gonna say his name. He came in and purchased something with our rents are 1,100, his rents are 900. Maybe paid 230 a door, I think. 130, about 210 or 230 a door. So I said thank you to the new person who came in, and he just pushed our building up. And there, people are willing to overpay, and that is going to help us because just like in Columbus, Ohio, where we own properties where we bought 47K a door, people are paying 80, 90 a door. And the key is the 3 principles my brother teaches, and I've always learned: buy right, manage right, finance right. It's that simple, but it's not. People hear buy right, and then they compete and they overpay. So you need to buy right. You need to manage right, which you're self-managing. And Chris Jackson, we need to finance right without the floating debt.
Got
Yeah,
some
I mean,
other
I
questions
encourage
here.
anybody else.
Yes.
Sorry, we got some other questions here. Depreciation is going to be proportionately available. We do a cost seg immediately after purchase. So
Yep.
we get that set up right away so that, yes, everyone is, based on their splits, enjoying that. It's an 80-20 split, 80% to the LPs, 20%
I
to
don't
the
know,
GPs.
So 80-20 split, for the people on here that are not familiar with syndication, basically 80-20 split means the numbers that we talked about, the return profile for this project, that is with the profits being split 80% to the investor. So what you're seeing out there is net to you. That is what an 80-20 split
is.
So one thing I gotta say
this-
about Chris, one thing I gotta say about Chris and Krista, when I joined Sharpline, my brother and I would say 95% of syndicators out there usually do a 70-30 split. Chris made my life easy as bringing in my family and friends and my investors as IT and doctors and all that, as they do an 80-20 split, which is better for the investor versus a 70-30 split. Some deals are heavy lift. We may do a 70-30, but Chris, this one's an 80-20.
Yes, that's
Yes.
accurate.
Yeah. And we didn't even see, guys, we're so busy telling you the good stuff about the deal. We didn't even tell you that there's an 80-20 versus a 70-30. For you are already invested in deals out there with other groups, you probably are in a 70-30. So it's just we should really not forget to mention.
I hold those details back only because they're going to be in the executive summary. And if you're new to syndication, it's a little bit of glazing over the eyes. It doesn't really matter.
So let's go over the steps, Chris. This is important, better than the questions. What if you're interested, what follows? Send me a text. We after this call in 5 to 7 days, how many you need? 5 to 7 days?
Yeah, I mean by the end of next week, the executive summary will be live for you to review. All the there'll be comps in there, rent comps, there'll be sale comps, there'll be the
30
full underwriting, there'll be
even if you're not interested, get the executive summary. 30-page executive summary, 25 to 35 pages of the comps of like under everything that you really want to know. It's great to learn from. Like I said, I don't care if you invest or not, it's great to learn from. So that's 5 to 7 days out. Once executive summary goes out, the email has executive summary. Then that email, say 7 days from now, we'll have the date probably 7 days after to wire the money. So it's a process we've done 14 times. It's not exact. I could say it might be in 5 days, it might be in 7, but we communicate, and communication is very important. Is if you text me, I will stay in touch. Ramo, my cousin, who's one of the CFOs of bunch of my companies, helps me. Plus, I have a couple assistants. So if I can't text back right away, I make sure Ramo, it builds a relationship and gets in touch with you and gives you everything that you need to know.
If you're not in our portal already, what you do is you go there, Sharpline Equity, click invest with us, you sign up, and then Rainbow will let you in. And once you get in there and Rainbow says approved, you will see the Logan Heights 2 opportunity. and it has the tear sheet in there. It's got some pictures in there right now. It will have this recording of this PowerPoint there. And then once the executive summary is ready, which would be mid to end next week, we'll alert everybody and say that it's ready. And then, yeah, quickly after that, we will be allowing the wires to come in, and then we anticipate close mid-September.
Yeah, September, and or close to the end, right?
The
The third week of September, I think, yeah. This is an interesting question. I don't think there's any, this is an interesting one. How does the sale of LH1 and LH2 work when the properties were transacted at a different time? I mean, there really is no impediment. The marketing piece, it's going to be packaged as one property because in fact, it looks like one property. The construction of the second set of buildings in Logan Heights 2 looks exactly the same as Logan Heights 1. So there's a continuity to the piece of the property for all of the buildings. The fact that there's two separate surveys because they were constructed and sold at a different time and two separate, title, that's not an impediment at all. I mean, the bottom line is this property can't be served up any other way than as one property because of the unit count, which is more attractive, and just because of the continuity of the appearance of it. You wouldn't want to sell it off separately. You have the flexibility to do that, but I can see no reason why we
Listen, I sent my three daughters, guys. I have a 19-year-old, a 15-year-old, and an 11-year-old and my wife. I sent them a text today. My daughter's in Orlando in college at UCF. I'm renting a one bed for her, A-class, beautiful. She's like, Dad, she moved in. She's like, and I sent her a picture. I said, your dad is buying a building just like that 2023 build. I mean, it's unbelievable. She couldn't believe it. My three daughters are like, because I own C-class, B-class, and A-class, a mix of everything. Now is the time for this A-class. And like we were talking about, like selling together, whatever. Yeah, we could sell in 5 years, make a lot of money. But if we refi and we're cash flowing, I would love to hold this 10 years. And we'll visit. We're going to revisit what's best for our investors, not for us. I'm not worried about us. But yeah, I mean, something like this, I'm just so proud to show my daughter's legacy, and even LPs being invested in a deal like this, a 2023 beautiful build. My daughter looked at it. She's like, I can't believe it.
Let's repeat, for 127 a unit.
I mean, like, my daughter's living in this, and she's like, Dad, you buy these things? I'm like, yes. And I used to be a chef, and I made pizza and chicken parm, some damn really good chicken parm. But yes, now we buy A-class, we buy C-class, B-class. And I can't wait to 2026, 27, because I'm going to buy some C-class. And I've been doing this since 23 years old. I've done it through 2007 to 12, where I saved my restaurant that was number one on TripAdvisor. And I continue to, I want to do this till hopefully live to 80, teaching my three daughters on the way. And I set up companies that I can leave this legacy to them. So the last thing, for anybody who's here tonight and loves crypto and loves stocks, they're all great asset classes. Gold, there's a million, Kiyosaki says. If you do not have one LP position in multifamily, you are missing out on the best asset class out there if it's with a great team. Okay, so I'm not saying invest in 10 deals. I have 42 and I don't have an IRA, don't need it. That's a government scam for the middle class. But I'm saying multifamily, when it's done right, once again, done right, is the best asset class out there. I love the stock and crypto casino. I do play the crypto casino with Josh Stahl all the time and make money and pay taxes on my money full. But I'm a real estate professional and I buy 1 to 7 deals a year, not even for the draws, not even for that like monthly return that everybody wants. I just want the tax benefits. That's all I want. And I want the appreciation. And I want to, you know what? Everybody's going to invest for themselves. I'm doing it for me. In the long run, if you have a daughter or a son or kids, you can build up a little legacy portfolio and keep investing one deal a year for 10 years and you have 10 deals. Bernard Pearson, I don't think he's on this call. He has 20 LP positions or 15 LP positions and about 5 or 10 GP positions of his own deals. He's basically retired from limited partner investing with good teams. And he has 2 other side businesses or 3 that he does. but he basically has enough passive income from LP positions to retire. So this is just a little education that we give in the MIH mastermind on like why a new build now? Why am I not like excited about a C class with a $3 million CapEx budget? Well, 2024 is going to be a little odd. So do I want to spend $2-3 million on a CapEx budget on a C class, or do I want to own an A class that can hold 10 years when we put the right debt on it? So this is going in deep with it, guys, but this is just me, my passion for multifamily and how it's changed my life and my family's life when it's done right. And it's done ethical, and it's done with building relationships and with family. So in saying that, Chris, we've gone over our time. Once again, everybody, please text me. I want to answer questions. I want to jump on face to face. Shantae, one last thing, I want to shout out to 2 people in my mastermind. Shantae Hodges, who has grown tremendously in my mastermind, is working side by side with me and has been partnering with us on 2 or 3 deals. And Lindsay and Michael Duguay, once again, who have been doing amazing things on their own, fix and flip and GP deals, all different types, and are working with me also side by side, which I'm very proud of. So yeah, so Chris and Krista, do we need to add anything, or just want to thank everybody for coming?
One thing is just a reminder. Yeah, I'll be speaking at Lindsay's event next Thursday. And we can talk
Awesome.
about this deal if you want. I'll be there. I'll be doing a syndication case study on a few of examples. I'll get into the nitty gritty.
Guys, I'm talking New York, Connecticut, and PA people. I'm talking New York. If you're 2 hours, you guys want to drive to this, you want to hang out with Chris Jackson and Lindsay and Michael. It's that important. Like, multifamily is that important. It's the proximity is power. Law of attraction. You want to be in these rooms. Chris is going to be in PA. I would drive. New Yorkers are going to drive 3 hours in our group for this, 4 hours for this, 2 hours for this. So, I wish I could.
We always have a lot of good people in the room. It's a good time.
Lindsay, I'm missing this one, but I'm coming up to visit you soon. Okay. All right, guys. Chris, I'm jealous. I got to fly out to KC too many times. That's why I got to keep the wife happy. So I got to miss this one.
Fly to PHL, stay at my house.
Yeah, I know. I'm coming up to VA because we have to go to York, our other property that's doing amazing. So, and hang out and visit that property. So I will come up soon. All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming. Yeah, let's jump on Zoom. Let's answer questions and see everybody soon. Thank you once again. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Well done. Thank you.
Marcos, thanks, Chris.
Here, everyone.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night, guys.
everybody.
Sip.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Good to see you, Sip. Thomas A. Ellis, I got to catch up with you. Take care, everybody. Good night.